And we are live with Lowco Pigskin live. Getting a little feedback from you, Wes. If you want to bump your volume down just a nudge, I always get that at times. I guess I'm loud over here, but we are live now, and we've already got people queued up to come on and talk high school football with us here on Lowco Pigskin Live. But you can see the score scrolling across the bottom, but we'll run through them real quickly. That Bridge Bowl game you were at, Wes, instant classic, one for the record books, 35-32, Bluffton in overtime. Can't wait to hear more about that one from you. James Island 49-0 over Colleton County. May River gets right in a big way, 49-14 over Lucy Beckham. Our guy Misa Garzon was there. He's going to come on and tell us more about that one. I was over at Battery Creek for about 3 quarters. Battery Creek comes back in the second half and wins 40-24 over North Charleston. Huge win for the Dolphins, clinching a playoff spot. Wade Hampton gets right, 55-8 over Ridgeland. Estill with the stunner of number one stunner. They beat Bamberg 40-6. We got to get some more details on that. Something crazy there. We said that something crazy could happen tonight on this wild Wednesday with Hurricane Ian bearing down, and there's your crazy result. Estill blows out number one. Crazy stuff. Whale Branch bounces back 37-18 over Bethune-Bowman. Cardinal Newman, I hope you took the over in this one. Cardinal Newman 69-40 over John Paul II. Buford Academy 48-6 over Palmetto Christian. We'll talk Skeeza, those 2 games with Dylan Price in a bit. Buford 34-14 over Philip Simmons. I caught the first half of that one. Casey Fields did Casey Fields things again, Wes. 271 and 4 touchdowns. And that's it, because everything else was canceled or postponed. Hilton Head Christian will play at First Baptist on Monday. Colleton Prep, Greenwood Christian still on tomorrow as far as I know, but we shall see, because Hurricane Ian is coming our way for sure. Wind was picking up in the second half at Creek. I'm sure the same at the Bridge Bowl, West. But
yeah, we got to start with that one.
Yeah, give me just a little bit about the Bridge Bowl before we start getting to some of our correspondence in here. But 35-32, Trey Hilleman comes in the second half, or in the first half, I guess, after Max Vaughn got hurt. And I told you in a text, I said, don't sleep on Trey Hilleman now. I've been watching this guy on the sidelines for a couple of years now, and you can tell that he knows what's going on, if nothing else. And that's what you really want out of your backup, is be able to step in there and know the playbook. Don't limit us. And he did a lot more than that. Tell us about the second half of an instant classic at the Nest.
Absolutely. An unforgettable game, and just an unbelievable job by Hayden Gregory and this Bluffton Bobcat team, especially when you lose your starting quarterback and you bring in a guy who, certainly hasn't had the experience, but as you said, he knows the system. He knows what to do in key spots, and he was absolutely sensational coming in there and leading the Bobcats to just an unforgettable victory, 35-32 in overtime. And what I like what Hayden Gregory did was he kind of eased him into this role. He got a couple short completions and easy throws, and then once he got going, he was unstoppable. Made a couple of huge completions down the field in that fourth quarter as the Bobcats came from behind to grab the lead. The Seahawks tied it on an incredible fourth down play, or after that play when Jackson Bybee hit Riley McCracken on just a beautiful play, extended the play and just escaped the pass rush and found McCracken downfield for a majestic catch. And the Seahawks tied it, but then in overtime, Bluffton comes up with the stop, and then Luis Rojas ice cold drills a 27-yard field goal to win it 35-32, and just an enormous win for this Bluffton Bobcat program under Hayden Gregory in his first season as a head coach. But I mean, I just cannot say enough about the job that Trace Hillman did. I mean, when you kind of back up coming in the game in a situation like this, in a big time contest against your rival, I mean, that's a gutsy performance, and Trace Hillman sees the moment in every way, and just so proud of him, so proud of Jalen Linder and that entire Bluffton team to get a win like this, especially for those seniors on this roster that's had a really tough couple of years, and to do this in their senior year, beat one of your rivals in Hilton Head, just an unforgettable moment, and just a night to remember on the football field at Hilton Head High.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff, and I'm trying to get some of our video pulled up here, but I also know that we have guests waiting that we want to talk to as well, so we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll show some highlights, but a terrific win for Bluffton and for Hayden Gregory. What a phenomenal first Bridge Bowl for this guy. And, you know, we've talked a little bit about that there were some questions about hiring a first-time head coach and some things like that. But we always felt like from the start, the youth, the energy, the enthusiasm that he brought in and that Jared Karkoff brought with him when he came down, followed him down, was really going to be what they needed to just light a fire in a program that had kind of stagnated a little bit. It was just a little bit stale and not a lot of energy and life over there. And that's definitely not the case anymore. They've definitely brought some guys out of their shell and helping them reach their potential. And terrific football game. I mean, just plain and simple, a great high school football game.
And
two rivals.
And we didn't mention his name, but Troy Timka absolutely going off. Unbelievable night. 39 rushes for 226 yards and 4 touchdowns. Of course, Jalen Linder, 6 catches for 191 and 2 touchdowns, plus an interception in overtime. That guy was just unreal.
Yeah, you knew there was so much untapped potential there. And it's just great to see him, really put it all together. And you see the offers starting to pile up, and there are definitely going to be more to come. But we will get to some more highlights from that game, as well as some post-game comments from Linder and from Hayden Gregory in a bit. But let's get Misa Garzone in here to talk about the May River game, because we felt like this was kind of a crossroads for this team this week coming in. That 1-4, but none of it really matters. If you take care of business in region, and winnable game coming out of the gate. Lucy Beckham had shown some stuff that the defense had played very well in the non-region. So this looked like kind of a toss-up game, but one that if you're going to make a run, you got to get. And May River came out and looked like a different team this week. Misa, 49 points on the board. That's not what we've been seeing. It's what we expected coming into the season, but not what we have seen. But finally, the whole is starting to add up to the sum of its parts here.
Absolutely, man. It was a offensive showing tonight in a very short week for the Sharks. And like you said, last 2 games against Beaufort, 7 points. Last week against Cane Bay, 0 points. Offense has been an issue. But tonight they came out firing from the first offensive series. Defense forces a fumble to gain possession near midfield, and then they run the ball in, as is their strength. Jaden Jones, the 1-yard touchdown, 7-0. And then Tanner Macy, who had a great night tonight. His first of what were 4 touchdowns, a 66-yard run to make it 14-0. And it was pretty much mirror in control there. But speaking with Coach Summers after the game, one thing he noted was that the less penalties that they committed, right? Turnovers. Last week against Cane Bay, whenever they made positive drives and were running the ball and driving forward, a turnover would lay them back. They could not recover, or a penalty would also get them back. We didn't see much of that tonight. They had maybe less than 5 penalties total offensively in the game. No turnovers offensively. And as you saw, big runs. Tanner Macy, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Passing is not a big strength at May River High School, but tonight 2 passing touchdowns, and also Darian Perry also added a score. So it was a very good night overall for the Sharks in their first region matchup.
That's very promising to see the offense really pick it up, because that's kind of seems like it's been their problem these last few weeks is creating sustained drives and having that 2-dimensional play on offense to complement the rushing attack with that passing game. How impressed were you of Tanner Macy's performance in leading that May River Shark offense?
It was very impressive. He's first-year quarterback. He's a sophomore, leading the team, and he's taking some bumps this season. They are a run-heavy offense, so we knew that they were going to run the ball heavily. I think what a biggest difference factor tonight from what I saw the last 2 weeks, playing strong out-of-conference games has come in handy in region play tonight. You saw that tonight playing bigger schools like West Ashley, New Hampstead, Cane Bay, and Beaufort, and having to deal with bigger athletes, especially in the trenches. You saw the offensive line giving Macy time to go back there and decide, with the run play option, where the best option is, getting passes off. They only had maybe 5 or 6 pass attempts today, but to get 2 touchdowns out of those, it's phenomenal. But it was just a big difference. And you could see the wear and tear from the last 5 games as they were 1-4. You saw it tonight finally flourish, and the offense finally able to go do what they do best, which is run an effective offensive set, create big runs, methodically run the ball up and down the field, and score a lot tonight like they did.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull some videos up here. So, obviously Jaden Jones getting a lot of carries tonight, as well as Macy, Darian Perry getting in on it too. I mean, was it the three-headed monster, or who all was involved?
Yeah, pretty much. It was Macy, Jones, and Perry rotating throughout the night and primarily running the ball. We'll see the stats later on this week once we get the stats back. They don't have them ready tonight, but Jaden Jones, 80-yard touchdown run, 1-yard touchdown run to start. Darian Perry would have had a touchdown run for 60 yards, got called back on a holding penalty. What did he do next play? Let me just run a 66 yards and score a touchdown. So it was a three-headed monster tonight. But I think the unsung hero for this game was the offensive line, right? They blocked very well, and they were very effective, and they were the X factor, and giving the boys time to go out there and just chew up yards, eat up yards, and score. And also the defense. The defense has not been an issue all season. They've been very solid. Tonight was no difference. They forced 4 fumbles. They recovered 2 of them. They had a couple of sacks as well. Almost had an interception as Lucy Beckham was driving in the red zone. Got a fumble, turnover on downs off that, and then they scored on the very next sequence offensively. Just an overall solid night, to be honest. But yeah, Macy, Perry, and Jaden were very much effective and unstoppable.
Just take a listen to these numbers. Lucy Beckham Bengals, going into this game, had not allowed more than 10 points to an opposing team in their first 5 contests, and May River scores 49 on them. Just an unbelievable job by this offense against this Lucy Beckham team, which was playing unbelievably stout defense to start the year. So I am very impressed by the way May River came into this game and put on a show offensively with that rushing attack, and so much credit has to be given to the offensive line and
Tanner coming
to play as well for the Shark team. But man, I mean, and I think you can throw in a couple factors. I mean, obviously the Sharks were battle tested before this game. They played a couple of games against some tough teams that really improved themselves as a whole. But obviously the weather and just the short week certainly has to play a factor in these games too. And we talked about this at the top, but I thought this would be a close game, but I mean, May River blew it out of the water, and certainly another surprising result. Although I thought May River, I did pick them to win this game. I'm shocked and pleasantly surprised by how well they controlled it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you see on the highlight here, that was a sack for the 4th down and goal for Lucy Beckham. That was really the last offensive drive. They did score a touchdown towards the end of the game to make the game a little bit more respectable. But yeah, Wes, I really think, Coach Summers built the schedule like he did for a reason, to get them ready for region play, right? Sometimes we focus too much on the results, and we see the record 1-4 versus 4-1. Like you said, Wes, Lucy Beckham had a very strong season to start defensively as well. So to score 49 on what was a very strong defensive team says a lot of just how they were tonight. I was worried about the short week, coming off, deflating homecoming loss, 21-0 at home to Cane Bay, to turn around and have to play on a Wednesday at a whim's notice. They really showed up, and they did an excellent job just to start the region the way that you want to start a region match, especially in a region like this. Next week, they have James Island, who had a very, very good win tonight against Carleton County. And that should be a matchup. And we're looking at, potential playoff implications next week, because you do have a very paired region with Hilton Head and Bluffton, as you saw in the Bridge Bowl tonight, as well. And they're trying to get some rights and who's going to make the playoffs. So I know the coaching staff is very happy after the game. When they were talking, they were relieved that, the offense finally showed up, the way that they believe that the offense can play, and they're hoping to carry that into next week at James Island, which would be a very, very tough matchup against a very solid James Island team.
I got some post-game comments you got from Thomas Raish here, one of the guys leading that defense. So let's hear what.
All right, I'm here with Thomas Raish, senior linebacker for May River Sharks. Thomas, talk about, again, defense was sharp again tonight. You guys forced 4 fumbles throughout the game. Tell us about how important this win is tonight to start region play the way you did.
Yes, sir. We had a tough schedule. We knew we were going to have a tough schedule coming into this to get us prepped for this. Came out flying around. We were intense. Just making sure we're completing our responsibilities, and you saw the outcome. So
let's talk about your team's focus. Short week, game on a Wednesday night. That's not usual to happen.
Yes,
how do you think you guys responded with this big score?
Offense came out. They haven't quite found their groove yet, and they were just pounding it on them. And, defense fed off of it, and we were just going back and forth. So,
How do you build off this momentum heading into next week's game against James Island?
I think, we got this 4-day break where this momentum is going to help us. We'll be locked in so that we can come in hot versus JI.
All right, thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that definitely, makes that game next week against James Island a little more interesting now that May River's back. And we've talked all season that James Island was kind of the team to beat, so to speak, like kind of de facto, but the gap was not nearly as wide as we, maybe once thought. And now it's maybe even more narrow than we thought, because I'm not even sure, like May River and Bluffton, I still think is a fairly even matchup. I think May River's, they've been there for a while, but Bluffton, those guys aren't backing down from a challenge, man. They got a little chip on their shoulder. They showed it tonight, and then Hilton Head obviously is right there in the mix. So I'm not any more clear on this region tonight than I was last night. Are you guys?
No, I mean, I was very surprised by Bluffton, what they did against Hilton Head on the road, and just in tough conditions, losing their starter and not having much time to prepare for it after getting pounded by Beaufort just a couple days ago, not even a full week. So the medal that Bluffton showed was pretty impressive. Definitely can take a lot from that Bobcat performance. Then May River, I mean, once again, I said battle tested. I mean, the wins weren't there, but they learned and grew a lot from those first few games, and they showed it when it really matters. I mean, it all comes down to region play, and they're 1-0, and that's all that matters now for this Shark squad. And yeah, I think the gap is narrowing as the days go on here, and when we get farther into this region play. So I'm very excited to see how this plays out these next few weeks, and just love to see the parity and the competition between all these sides.
Yeah, I agree.
James Island put it on Carlton though, 49-0.
Yeah, no, but I agree with Wes. Bluffton's response tonight in the big rivalry game after the loss they had at Beaufort, losing their starter early in the game and still being able to bounce back and get the win. And then Hilton Hill obviously going to feel that one for a while, having the lead late and then losing in overtime at home against one of your biggest rival actually for them. But yeah, the region is going to be a toss-up. I think next week will be very telling of what the final playoff seeding may look like for this region. But yeah, definitely it's going to be a fight to the end. It's going to be a playoff-like atmosphere every Friday night that these games happen for this region, because you are fighting. And again, Class 4A is no easy classification, especially the lower state, because you have the Florida schools, you have the Grand Strand, and you're seeing
West Florence beat Myrtle Beach tonight, first time in a million years. West Florence is dirty. I mean, Wilson's good.
AC Flora in the lower state this year.
Yeah. Buford's got to be feeling really good about 3A right now.
Nobody's happier than Beaufort going to 3A this year than getting out of the 4A. But definitely, I think it's going to be a race to the finish next week. James Island and May River, whoever wins that game will be in the driver's seat. Towards securing a home playoff spot in the first round. But definitely, it's going to be a playoff-like atmosphere for every game, and I think it's going to be fun to watch as from the outside looking in. I think every team's going to bring their A game every Friday night.
Yep, I think so too. And Beaufort, they don't have a cakewalk in 3A. Don't get it wrong. It's tough, especially at the top. But the lower state in 4A is just crazy because of that Florence region. It's just insane, especially this year, because the two Florence teams are so well. All three Florence teams, but South and West are as good as they've ever been. Myrtle Beach is actually maybe not going to make the playoffs. Like they're in danger of missing the playoffs in that region. That's how good it is. So pretty crazy stuff up there. But Beaufort did it again. And 4A's got to be happy too, because they don't have to see Casey Fields, who's rushed for 874 yards in 3 games.
Was he the homecoming king too?
He was also the homecoming king. Yes. Casey Fields
probably was harder for him than the rushing yards tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, he had 271. What was it? 271 and 4 touchdowns, I believe. So he's got like 874 yards and 11 touchdowns in 3 games.
Last 2 games.
He literally, they got the ball back, and Libran turned to me on the sidelines and said, "Think I should give it to Casey?"
It's almost a
that was after his second rushing touchdown. What's that?
That team's having fun.
Oh, they're having a blast. They're having a blast. They look good against Philip Simmons, and I've got some clips, but it's a lot to manage to be the talker and the producer. I got to be honest. But Buford 34-14 over Philip Simmons. Really dominated the first half of the game, which is all I saw. It was only 13-0 at halftime, but Philip Simmons just too one-dimensional to really do anything against Buford. In fact, Bowersox always gives me the scouting report. He's like, "Oh, that's number 2. He's the only receiver who can catch it." So he's always got the scouting report for me, and he's like, and he plays both ways, so he's going to get tired. So yeah, they wore him down pretty good. Fields somehow not tired. I don't know how. He carried it 30 times on Friday, and then he carried it 27 or 26 more times tonight. He
deserves that rest.
Force though, man. I mean, he's just solid as a rock, and hits the hole hard, and the offensive line is working well for him. And the secondary was lighting people up. Jamar Knight had a pick. Lamar Knight had a big stick. You got Ferris back there. Like they're the total package. They're the real deal. And Samari Bonds, looks more and more comfortable all the time. I think they're poised to make a really good run in 3A.
They just seem to have all the pieces, all the right spots. I mean, they did lose a couple guys on defense from last year. The line may not be as strong, but the secondary has been better. The linebacking play has been great with Dennison and Carter Bowersox. So
and Zach
I think
Albert, really there's just so many guys. It doesn't matter if somebody gets hurt or has to come out for a few plays. Like there's just another dude who's just like him.
Step right up and do it. Keep it at
big time next man up. And speaking of next man up, Battery Creek, I was over there. Battery Creek 40-24 over North Charleston, and I got to tell you, it did not look good at halftime. I get there, Damian Freeman's on the sidelines. I'm like, I give him a fist bump, and I'm like, "What's up with you?" And he's like, "Collarbone. I got one, but broke my collarbone on it." And I'm like, "Oh no!" So McEachin was just carrying the load. And then things started going south. They gave up a couple long touchdown passes and were down 24-14 at halftime. And then they came out of the locker room, and the defense was like the hair was on fire. Leroy Tyus was wreaking havoc. Guys were making big hits. Secondary got locked in, and they didn't give up a point in the second half. And McEachin just rolled over them. Hunter Smith threw a couple touchdown passes, and just a totally different team in the second half. Much more like what we saw last week against Whale Branch. So, I mean, 2-0 in the new digs. Battery Creek got a little bit of magic going on over there. It's going to get tougher in that region, but they got the win they needed to secure a playoff spot. And again, I just love the energy and enthusiasm that Ash has brought, and to see them keep their head up through what happened at the end of the first half there with your star on the sidelines, and come out and fight in the second half and dominate the game. That's not the kind of thing we're used to seeing from Battery Creek. So it really is a good sign that they're turning a corner.
Yeah, we're all we have. We're all we need, and I just love the attitude and positivity from Battery Creek. Terrence Ash, he's doing a fantastic job, and I just love the success that he has achieved for this team this year in his third season now at Creek, and just so well deserved. And when a guy and a key piece on your offense goes down like that, everybody on the line and those skill players, everybody stepped up, and the defense as well made some big plays down the stretch. But McEachin carrying the load, I mean, it's great to have that 1-2 punch, but it was up to McEachin, and then he delivered for this Battery Creek team. And just great to see the Dolphins pull out a win. They needed this win to solidify their playoff spot. I mean, obviously you still have some games to play, but definitely you needed this one to really say, we're going to get in. And they did. So, I mean, that's a huge win that should put them in the postseason, and just build off from there and see what you can do against the rest of the teams in this region, kind of playing with house money now.
Yeah, I need to figure out who has to film at the halftime speech so I can spring just a few games. So let me borrow it. Email it to me. I won't tell my sources, but definitely it's a good start. Not a good start, but just great result last week. Big win against Whale Branch, who's a very good team as well. To kind of turn that thing around. They hadn't won a game since the original game. So it's good for what Coach Ash is doing. Next, it's a tough region. They got Buford and Hanahan to play and Philip Simmons as well. But to start 1-0 and kind of just feel that, hey, we have a playoff spot this early in region play, that'll come big, and continuing the culture change that Coach Ash is doing over there at Battery Creek, as you saw tonight.
Yeah, I love what they're doing, but let's get you out of here, Misa. Let you get back to your family. We appreciate you, and we got Dylan Price waiting to talk a little skisa, so we'll let you get out of here. But thanks a lot for the report, man, and we got some highlights from you too, so we'll be able to get those in Lowco Lights this week, and we appreciate you, man.
Sounds good.
One of the original podcast listeners back in the day. Now
right.
reporting on the live Pigskin Live. It's all come full circle.
It's been great to have you on Local FC as well. Excited to get that rolling soon.
Yeah, football is football, right? This is the first ever Local FC crossover here. Look, for all my American football guys, here's a soccer guy talking football. I talk trenches, turnovers. I use football terms. I mean, look, I'm almost there.
Yeah, and we're bringing in the new demographic. Let's go.
That's true. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your night.
All right, man. Later. Love that guy. Like I said, original Island Packet Buford Gazette sports podcast listener right there. Faithful listener. But let's get Dylan Price in here because he's been hanging on the line for a while. Oh, sorry. We're fighting over it, Wes. Come on in, Dylan. Let's talk a little bit. I know you didn't get out to a game tonight. You had some schoolwork. It's Wednesday night. You are a college student. The beat goes on. But I know you were tapped into Twitter and you were keeping track of what was going on, especially with those Skisa games. So Cardinal Newman, we joked earlier about taking the over. Cardinal Newman 69-40 over JP2. I will say Myers warned me today that they had been ravaged by the flu bug. But he also said we do have Christian Tilton and we do run the triple option, and they did only have 2 days to prepare for it. So who knows? But not a lot of defense in this one. It was pretty wild. And apparently it was another Devontae Green game at Buford Academy. We can't call any of them the Devontae Green game. There have been too many.
Devontae Green game 1 and 2.
Yeah, right.
Even more.
But they blew out Palmetto Christian 48-6, and it was out of hand early. So I'm not sure how much we can glean from these two games, but you can certainly talk about what you think about them.
I mean, well, I looked at the box score for the John Paul II game, and John Paul had them 8-7 in the first quarter, and then the wheels started falling off, and Cardinal Newman scored 34 in the second quarter. And then, you take away that score, you take away the second quarter, John Paul comes out on top. So you just got to, when the momentum's not going your way, John Paul's got to find a way to get it back or at least slow it down just one more touchdown, and, they come out with a win.
Yeah,
and then
it snowballed quickly for them, and that's tough. When you give up a couple scores, it kind of gets to you, and it's hard to rebound sometimes. But, I love the way this offense is playing with Christian Tilton and Jackson Ogden, but going to have to find out to some more ways to make some stops as you go deeper into region play. And I still believe in the process. I think Chris Myers is doing an excellent job over there at JP2. And I think some better games are ahead for the Golden Warriors going forward when you have an electric playmaker like Christian Tilton and that terrific offense. It's a great sign for JP2. Just got to get some more defensive stops and lock in on that side of the ball. But credit to Carl Newman for digging in and showing some firepower on the offensive side. But another tough loss for the Golden Warriors, but still a lot of football left for them.
I do have a few stats. Tilton 6 of 16 for 152 and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Hill with 4 for 138 and 2 touchdowns receiving. I think Ogden was out. He was going to try to play, but he had been sick. Tilton 24 for 241 and 3 touchdowns rushing. Oh my gosh. Bryant Jolly also had a rushing touchdown. Tilton had 7 tackles, Rembold 7 tackles, Slusny 10 tackles. So it was kind of a one-man show. Christian Tilton again tonight, but he couldn't outdo 69. That's a little too much to overcome by yourself. But Buford Academy, you guys may have been. I was trying to follow the tweets, but I was at 2 different football games tonight. But I do know Devontae Green had a huge game. What'd you guys, Dylan? You were watching Twitter. What do you know?
I mean, it's kind of what I expected. We talked about this. Buford, I know they were probably a little bit upset about the Hilton Head Christian game. They were just going to take it out on Greenwood, and that's really what happened. I saw a video on Twitter. Devontae Green had a pick six, great return, really athletic. I mean, it was awesome to watch. And I listened to it, and the announcer said Devontae Holloman instead of Devontae Green on the thing. I was like, well, wrong guy, but
wrong dude.
Yeah.
He's got some Buford history, but that's not him. All right,
Yeah.
so we'll do a live reading of BA's tweets. How about that? Well, no one watches us live because it's Wednesday night before a hurricane. Devontae Green makes his name known 2 minutes into the game, 55-yard touchdown run, then forces a fumble on the kickoff. Zeke Gonzalez scoops and scores 14-0, 9:52 left in the first. Then we got a Zeke interception leads to a Devontae Green touchdown. So it's the Zeke and Devontae show, 21-0, still first quarter. Devontae Green pick six, 28-0, still first quarter. Jackson Porter 40-yard run. Jackson Porter touchdown run. It's 41-0, 2:40 left in the half. Braden Deneen with a pick before halftime. Jackson Porter touchdown run, and then they put in the bench and gave up.
Yeah, I mean, this was a get right game they needed. I mean, this was the team in the region that is at the bottom, and people will be able to have some success against this Palmetto Christian side. And certainly no team is easy, and you got to make sure to put in the effort, and they did. But certainly it's looking like the bottom feeder of this region is going to be Palmetto Christian. But I think they got them at the right time after the tough loss to HHGA, a chance to bounce back, and they certainly did. And now they can get some confidence moving forward into some big reach games ahead. And I'm already excited for that round robin trio between Bethesda, BA, and Carlton Prep.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I mean, we all knew Palmetto Christian was going to be the doormat of the region, unfortunately, just because you've got three really good teams and one that doesn't quite match. So that was going to be a little lopsided, but looking forward to that round robin for sure. I don't know who's BA getting next. I don't know off the top of my head. This Wednesday thing's throwing me for a loop, fellas. Did not have time to fully prepare for all of this. So yeah, not much else happening in Skiza. Quiet week because everybody tried to wait for Thursday, and that turned out to be
Williamsburg. Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Ooh, that'll be really interesting. Williamsburg. Yeah. Oh, that's a little state championship preview situation, right? Williamsburg's in 2A, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe you're right, yeah. And that they are rolling 5-0 to start the season. I'm very high on this Williamsburg Academy team.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the team you expect to be the one on the other side and the one waiting. You don't want to have to go up there in the playoffs. You want to be the one seed, so you get to wait and see them in the championship game because they're going to be a problem. They were good last year, but Hilton Head Christian was just special. I mean, that wasn't really a fair fight. But yeah, that'll be very interesting. I still think BA is a really, really quality football team, and I think they maybe kind of needed that wake up call that they got with Hilton Head Christian. They kind of had that game in their hands and let it slip away. So I guarantee you, Mark Clifford did not make it easy on them the last couple of days. Even though it was a short week, I bet he had them working hard. So I like BA to make a run here. So not much else happening. Yeah, like we said, Carlton Prep game is, as far as I know, still on for Thursday, but that seems unlikely. Although it is in Greenwood, which is a good ways up, from the coast.
They'll just maybe a quick preview of what's to come here as we get later on this week. Hilton Head Christian Academy and First Baptist, we mentioned it on the previous show, but I think this is an intriguing game for the Eagles. Hilton Head Christian Academy trending upwards for a huge win over BA, but First Baptist certainly always a tough task, but I do think this sets up well for a key region win for Ron Peduzzi's squad.
Oh yeah, I think after seeing what First Baptist kind of did against Hilton Head Prep and kind of using that judgment, I think this is another game for Hilton Head Christian to improve and get those guys like Dylan Clark. I mean, he's doing fine, but just fine tune the little things that they can quirk and maybe incorporate a little bit more run game with some of the backs and maybe some jet sweeps and stuff. But First Baptist has been a good team in the past, but I think Hillnet Christian's going to edge them out this year.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a really difficult team to defend, HHCA, because, I mean, there's a lot of unorthodoxy in there. Like Clark's just freelancing a lot, and they're just letting their athletes athlete. And yeah, I mean, how do you prep for it? Really, you can't.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it's tough, especially if you run like a basic run-based set, and you just don't. You can't even really scout team it because you just don't have the guys who have the skills. But I think they're going to be interesting to watch down the stretch. Again, I think they're learning at a steeper curve than a lot of other teams because they've got some guys that are new to the sport or coming back to it after a while. So it seems like they're making big strides every week. But apparently they had the flu bug too, so they were fortunate to get the push to Monday. I think they were going to be down guys. In fact, I mean, Meyer said they were like, there was a time when they weren't sure they would have 11 but at one point. I guess these flu bugs are just ravaging some of the schools. So it could be a factor, coming, you have a region game and all of a sudden 20 guys have the flu. Like, what are you going to do? You got to play the game, and you're going to have some young guys pressed into action. So especially in a short week like this, there was the potential for something weird. And speaking of weird, Dylan, you texted me about that Estill game. Did you see that? What the hell?
Man, I mean, Bamberg Earhart is like the smaller classification in,
they're literally ranked
number one polls.
Yeah. I mean, they've been the team forever. I mean, even when I was little growing up, we'd go to the Woodland games sometimes. Bamberg Earhart would be there, running the ball and just beating everybody in their path. So, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And Estill, they really impressed me with their play in the trenches, both on the offense and defensive line. And so much of football comes down to that, and they have really been performing in that aspect of the game. And it's translating to some big-time wins now. And I think the sky's the limit for this Estill squad. And how excited are you for the potential of these Hampton County Hurricanes?
Oh, my gosh. Hampton County Hurricanes are going to be dirty. I mean, tonight they combined for 95 points between them, so that's pretty good. Still in Wade Hampton. Patrick Henry doesn't get to play this week, unfortunately. They're supposed to play on Thursday, and now that one's canceled against the Kings Academy. But hey, another week for Hugh Ferry to get well, and for the rest of those guys to rest up. That was a non-region game, so honestly, I mean, if you had a non-region game scheduled this week, just punt that thing. Don't risk getting somebody hurt. Just punt that thing and go on to the next one. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Hillnet Prep Florence Christian game, because they've said now it's canceled, won't be made up. But that is a region game, so you're going to end up with an unbalanced number of games. And as we know, Skeesa not great at coming up with the fine print for these situations. So you can just bet it's going to come back, and Florence Christian is going to be like 3-3, and somebody's going to be 3-4, and it's going to be, well, what if they play that? And what are we going to do? So looking forward to that fiasco.
I'm looking forward to see what Hayward's deal is going to be because of how the new playoffs is set up, like overall classification record. And if Hayward doesn't make up this game with Dylan Christian, they don't have, I think they have 4 1A games.
Wait, they've changed the 1A playoff system? It's not just
is it 1 through 8 now?
Yeah, it's 1 through 8, and it's based off of your classification record. So like your 1A record.
Oh.
But you're in different regions, but it still seeds 1 through 8. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird because it's like, you could have a region winner be 3-7, and then you could have Thomas Hayward be 4-0 in 1A, and then Robert Lee or somebody like 8-0 in 1A. How are you gonna? I don't know. Seems weird.
Seems like they're going more all in on the same stuff that gets them in trouble all the time with basketball and volleyball and all that. Like, just let the bracket do its work. Don't.
Yeah, the playoffs are.
Don't introduce human error. just chalk it up to the system, man. That's just how it works this year. You guys got to go on the road. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man, they create so many problems for themselves, and we are live, but we'll tell them how it is. So, well, Dylan, we appreciate you, man, and stay safe. Are you hunkering down at USCB, or are you heading back home to up to St. George?
No, they made us evacuate, or we had to evacuate by 12 tomorrow.
Oh yeah, because
so-
they got to bring in the National Guard and put them up there, right? So
yeah, I think
we got to
so.
get you out of Dodge. So you back up in Dorchester County.
Yep.
All right. Well, stay safe up there, brother, and we'll see you on the other side.
Y'all too. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dylan.
Dylan Price. All right, Wes. Let's take a break and hear from our sponsors real quick, and then we'll get back at it and talk a little bit more about these games and look at some highlights from around the Lowco here on Lowco Pigskin Live.
This podcast is made possible by our sustaining sponsors. Our original sponsor, Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of LowcoSports.com. Go see Ryan and Tiffany and the Mickle Squad for all your legal needs and support the local businesses that support Lowco. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling the best pies in Bluffton and on Hilton Head, but don't sleep on the mac and cheese. Star Home Services, official residential cleaning service of Lowco Sports. Sometimes you just don't want to clean. Call on Carla and her amazing team to do the dirty work at a great price and tell them Lowco sent you. 843 Sport, the official training center of Lowco Sports. No matter your game, 843 Sport is the place to take it to the next level. They're bringing all the area's top trainers and some of the best elite travel teams from various sports under one roof at 843 Sport. DDS Web Design, the official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If you have a business and you want to get found, look no further than DDS. They can build an attractive and effective website loaded with all the cutting-edge SEO tools you need to show up where people are looking, on Google. Dave and Denise will get it done. Additional support provided by Cannon Specialty Services, Bluffton Pest Control, Next Move, The Fit Club in Belfair Town Village, and our Patreon members. Join today for $1 or more per month at patreon.com/LowcoSports to get early or exclusive access to our local sports content and exclusive Lowco swag. And thank you to our past recurring sponsors, including Horizon Rehabilitation and Physical Therapy, Coastal Plains Insurance of the Lowcountry, 4M Metals, Hilton Head Insurance and Brokerage, Brody's Bar and Grill, and AGC Gutter Company. Thank you for supporting our mission to create quality local sports content that celebrates our teams and athletes. Go Lowco!
All right. Thanks so much to all of our sponsors who make this possible and prevent me from having to go back and get a full-time job. My wife lets me keep doing this with US because of our sponsors. So we appreciate that. And thanks, of course, to everybody who watches and listens. Let's get into it a little bit more with that Bridge Bowl and show some of the highlights because we've got some from WSAV and then we'll have some more for you later on this week. And we'll have plenty of downtime to go through highlights and get you all the good stuff. But let me find my files here. I'm double dipping as our producer tonight, so a little slow on the draw at times. But here we go with some Bridge Bowl highlights from WSAV, Seahawks, and Bobcats.
It was an absolute classic. I mentioned how good the 2013 Bridge Bowl was, but this one was unbelievable as well.
Oh,
great move there. Bluffed into Seahawks territory to set up some early driving, but I was really impressed by the way that Bluffton attacked this Seahawks secondary. Jalen Linder for Max von Hohenstraat, and that was before Max von left the game. Jackson Bybee with a deep throw, and that one is caught. Big game from
Huggins.
Yeah, Jake Huggins with the catch for the Seahawks.
Timko.
Troy Timko having himself yet another terrific game on the ground, and offensive line doing a good job providing with some holes to run through. Excellent outing from
He's going to be a dude, man.
39 rushes,
about him.
226 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the ball game.
You said 226?
226 yards.
Ooh, that's nice.
Jackson Bobby in the pocket looking for some running room. He'll take off. Ooh, a big hit there at the end of that play. Bluffton with the physicality. And they were hungry tonight and determined to win this ball game. And just an incredible effort by everybody on this Bluffton sideline, and Hayden Gregory for just never quitting, even when the odds were stacked against them in this ball game. And, you know, when Max von Hohenstraten left the game, I thought this was the Seahawks game. I did not think Dobbins would have a chance to come back. And I knew what you said, and I believed you when you talked to the big game with Trace Hellman, and certainly struggled in the outset. A few throws just weren't on target, but I think in the beginning of the second half, what I love Hayden Gregory did is kind of simplify the game for his new quarterback. A lot of short throws, a lot of screens, and we threw that screen to Jalen Linder for 71 yards. I think that instilled a lot of confidence in him, and then he just picked it up as the game went on and absolutely torched this Hilton Head defense in the latter stages. 54-yard pass to Michael Fritz, actually 2 touchdowns to Fritz in that fourth quarter. And the Seahawks, do we have more highlights to roll from my end?
Let me see if I can grab them here. I haven't been able to stitch them together, so they'll just be, on their own. But we can actually get to some. How about we get some post-game comments here?
That'll be perfect.
Let me see.
Got to talk with both Jalen Linder and Hayden Gregory, and some good stuff in there that you'd love to hear and listen to.
Yeah, here we go. Got Jalen
Linder, you're a Bridge Bowl champion. How's that feeling, man?
It feels great. Waited 4 years for this, and we finally got it last year.
You guys dug in on both sides in the second half. How did losing your starting quarterback fuel this squad to play even harder?
Beginning of it, I was hurt, but I told Trace to step up, focus one play at a time, just relax his mind back there.
What did you guys do in that second half on offense to claw your way back and win this ball game?
Relax your minds, one play at a time. That was it.
That interception, though, he had to be special.
Yes, sir.
Take me through that play.
Coach didn't want me to rush and go block the field goal. He stayed back, watched it, carving my guy, and I was in the right spot at the right time.
Jalen, you guys have had a tough stretch these last few years of Rep Lupton. Now as a senior and a veteran of this team, what does this win mean to you?
This win means a lot. I told my seniors this is our last chance to get a Bridge Bowl. Since we got it, so I told defense, lock in, give it all, play with your heart. We got a couple days off, and I told offense, one play at a time.
Congratulations, Jalen.
Thank you.
And you see right there what it means to a guy like Jalen Linder, and for those seniors in this program that have waited so long to take down this Bobcat team. And these last few years, it's been tough. The wins just haven't been coming for this group, but just got to feel so awesome for those seniors. And I know how bad they wanted it, Jalen Linder being one of them, and just so great to see them achieve those goals and be a rival that they haven't been able to get past these last few years. So, and it really all started in the summer, all the energy and just the great things that Hayden Gregory instilled in this group. And certainly it's been an up and down start to the season, but they all came together, and against all odds, they came back with Trace Hillman, and just so much credit to him and what he did to lead this group back to just a memorable victory over Hilton Head. And that's a strong Hilton Head team with a great defensive line, and Bluffton able to have that success on offense with a new quarterback coming in. Just speaks to the dedication to drive this team, and the way Hayden Gregory just inspired this group to play their best ball, and some great defensive stops as well. Jalen Linder mentioned his big play in overtime and an interception on a botched field goal that Hilton had. They were the first team to get possession in overtime, and Linder came up and picked off the pass after the field goal operation went awry. And obviously a great moment for him to get his touch there and to have an impact there on defensively, and normally talking about as an offensive superstar, but also make an impact huge on defense to make a stop. And then very first play coming out of that sequence, Bluffton got the ball, went right away. Josh Rojas with the game-winning field goal, 27 yards. And Luis Rojas, that was someone who I actually covered last spring on the soccer field, and I believe he scored a game-winning goal the day I was there. So talk about already having that clutch gene on the soccer field, take it over to the football field, and that's just a guy who has that dog in him, as the kids would say these days. Someone who's just dedicated to his craft, no matter what sport he plays, and just in a huge pressure situation like that, first play of that overtime series, it was at the 10. Hayden Gregory had confidence in his kicker to do it right away, and he delivered. So just a great moment for Rojas to be able to put the finishing touches on that win and convert that 27-yard field goal. And just a celebration afterwards, his reaction, his face said it all. And just what a moment for the Bobcats. And this is a program-defining win for a team that just hasn't had that success these last few years, and just so much confidence that you take with. Obviously, you lose your starter in Max von Hohenstraten, which, I mean, it looks like potential to be a multi-week injury. Certainly, that's a massive loss when you have a guy who's so electric throwing the football and can make some deep throws to Linder and some teammates. But we saw what Hillman could do, and he's certainly capable of leading this group. And I love what they did. They actually tried a couple Wildcat sets after von Hohenstraten went down, and they went back to Hillman. They had confidence in him going in the second half, and he absolutely delivered. So love the way this Bobcat team responded from adversity tonight, and just an amazing win and a program-building, program-defining win for Hayden Gregory. And let's hear from him now if you can pull it up.
Yeah.
I got to witness an instant classic here tonight. Absolutely speechless. What an effort from your Bluffton Bobcats tonight, Bridge Bowl champions.
Yeah, freaking unbelievable team effort. I'm so proud of our guys, offense, defense. Stepped up big when Max got hurt. And, I mean, we were down at half by 8 points. I'm speechless. It's freaking unbelievable.
How did you guys prepare for this game, having it being moved up a few days?
Well, the nice thing is, on our bye week, I got a lot of film of a lot of teams that we were about to play, so I had some film filmed in, and I already had an idea of what they were going to do. But, I mean, we were just going to try to be very basic. We knew that if we try to overcomplicate things, it was going to be difficult. So I was excited about playing on Wednesday. I felt good about it. You know, if we had a few more days of preparation, I honestly don't know if it would have helped. I just wanted to get over that Beaufort loss as quick as possible.
What did you tell this team heading into the second half, and how did they respond and pull off something special with your backup quarterback?
I just told our guys at halftime that we have to be a more physical football team. That's it. Okay, and that nothing else mattered. We could have freaking Santa Claus at quarterback and it wouldn't matter. Okay, the fact of the matter is, if we were the more physical football team, we were going to win. I thought our guys did a freaking awesome job stopping their run game a little bit. They had a really good running back and a really good offensive line, so they had a lot of success still. But we were able to run the ball despite the fact that they have a freaking dude at nose guard, and our receivers blocked their freaking tails off on all those screen passes and let Jalen and Brandon, Rod, and Kamar and all those guys make big plays.
What was the strategy offensively in that second out? New personnel, getting your backup comfortable, and he really showed out down the stretch.
We didn't want to make anything hard for Trace. We just wanted him to throw screens and easy passes, and it paid off. We definitely need to, if Max is out long term, we need to develop a little more, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to celebrate. But yeah, I mean, we just want to get the ball out to our guys and let them make plays.
How you find coaching a player like Jalen Linder?
He's a freaking amazing kid. He's a freaking unbelievable, amazing kid. I don't know why more colleges don't look at him. I mean, every field that he walks on, he's one of the best players on it, if not the best. And tonight he totally took over that game. Played almost every snap of offense, defense, didn't complain about it, complained when he was only taken out. And he's a freaking awesome kid. I'm so proud of him.
Luis Rojas coming in, first play after the defense makes a stop in overtime. What was the game plan in OT, and what a moment from your kicker?
I just didn't want to turn the ball over or anything like that. I trusted Luis. I trusted our field goal team. Looking back on it, I was a little nervous, but I trusted our guys, and Luis is a freaking hell of a kicker. So.
And finally, what does this win mean for you and for your program?
It means a lot. It means a lot. This was a lot of months of really, really hard work, especially with all the injuries we had. I mean, Jeremiah, Max, and a lot of other guys going out, and our freaking backup stepped up. Everybody stepped up. It was what a team win. And to win in overtime like that, for our guys to fight and just grit it out, that's what I want the team to be. That's what I want this culture to be. A bunch of gritty guys.
And Hurricane Ian wins again at the end there, but the wind's picking up. But I love that guy. I know I get the sense that there were a lot of people kind of rooting against him when he got to town, because he's the young brash guy, new in town and talking a big game, but gosh, he's everything you want in a high school football coach. He's enthusiastic. He puts his heart and soul into it. He makes it fun. He's having fun. And he gets the kids to play hard. I mean, Jalen Linder is a different player this year, plain and simple. And you have to give Hayden Gregory a lot of credit for the energy that he's brought to that program.
Yeah, he's unlocked a new gear in Jalen Linder, really so many other guys on this roster too. And I just love what he instilled early on, just that sense of energy and just new vibes that he brought to his new stop here at Bluffton, taking over as the head coach. Jared Karkoff has to get some credit as well for what he's been doing, and he's a big part of this as well. But I just got the sense during the summer when I got to communicate him for the first time that he was going to do something special here with this Bluffton program. And I certainly was right. He proved it all tonight. And just what an incredible program-defining win. And what a fantastic hire by Bluffton to get this guy who seems just so motivated and so driven to perform his best and help this team succeed.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to their showdown with May River and just seeing how that whole region shakes out. But really impressed with Battery Creek, too. We talked about them earlier. Great comeback win against North Charleston. That puts them in the playoff picture. And, I mean, Philip Simmons, a team that they might be able to beat. And then Hanahan, is kind of in that same tier. So who knows? They might be able to make a run here and knock some people off. Yeah, I saw Philip Simmons tonight. It's pretty one-dimensional on offense, running the ball. Not huge. Beaufort had a good size advantage on them. I think Battery Creek, if they're playing the way that they did against Whale Branch and then the way they did in the second half tonight, has a good chance to hang with them. But if they play the way they did in the first half tonight, probably not so much. But, a lot of it depends on Damian Freeman's doctor's appointment tomorrow afternoon. He said he had an appointment tomorrow, so hopefully he'll get a good prognosis and it won't be displaced and they won't have to be out as long. But McEachin is a dude. You don't want him to have to carry it 35 times a game, and they're not going to throw it a ton, so they need somebody else back there. Donye Brown has shown some signs that he might be able to do it, but there's not a lot of depth, so hopefully they can get Freeman back pretty quickly. But I just love what they're doing. I think Ash has brought in some guys and reinforce that coaching staff. So there's a little bit more instruction happening, in game and stuff, and a little bit more of guys going around and picking people's spirits up, keeping the morale up, so you don't get that snowball effect. But that was a good win for them tonight. And then Whale Branch getting back on track is very good to see. Anything that really jumps out to you that you want to talk about a little bit more, Wes?
Yeah, I think May River is the team that really impressed me the most. I mean, Bluffton obviously in person, but what May River did against the Lucy Beckham defense that was impenetrable coming into this game, and they haven't allowed more than 10 points in one ball game. And May River, a team that was struggling on offense, and we talked about it, that we're going to see some surprising results this week because of the weather and just a short week. And this was one of them. May River showed up for this ball game. Loved the effort and the intensity in the run game. Offensive line was terrific, and great to see the development so far of Tanner Macy, still in his first few games as quarterback in May River. I think he's grown a lot in his last few starts, especially against some tough competition. We know how important it is. We've seen that. Look back to Beaufort last year and what they're able to do after facing all those Georgia teams and how they grew and ended up going to the state championship. Obviously, kind of a different squad, but still what May River has done tonight, and it's just a reflection on how much they've improved since the start of the year. I think a lot of that is testing, and it sends a good message. Schedule aggressively, play some tough teams, and that's going to help improve you once you get to region play, because obviously it's the region games that matter in the end. So a great performance by May River, and just really impressed. And I'm excited to see this hometown showdown, I guess is what they call it now, between Bluffton and May River soon.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. I mean, I still think May River, at least on paper, is the better team. But they've been pretty inconsistent. Both teams have been a little inconsistent. And this result tonight by Bluffton shows me something, that I wasn't sure, as you said, how much dog was in them. But there's some dog in there to come back off getting your tail whipped on Friday night and beat a big rival in a slugfest on Wednesday. That's impressive. That takes some want to, you got to dig deep to do that. So, and a team that was at least, thought to be their equal, if not a little bit better than them, maybe, so that's pretty impressive from them. And the Estill. I can't wait to find out more about what happened there, because that no matter what, that's impressive. But like 40-6 over Bamberg Earhart, they held Wade Hampton to 7 last week.
I'm excited for 1A. Last year it was all Southside Christian, and I still think the Sabres are really good, but I'm excited to see how this playoff bracket shakes out in 1A, because there's a lot of parity and a lot of teams, Johnsonville, Christchurch, St. Joseph's. It's going to be exciting to see how it plays out in 1A, because I think the margins are very narrow between those teams at the top, and you see what Estill did, taking down number 1 squad. So there are a bunch of teams that can go all the way in 1A. It's going to be fun.
Well, and if you're somebody else in that region, if you're Whale Branch, you got to be going, the door's open. We can even have a slip up here and still end up in a 3-way tie, and Bamberg's going to be the odd man out because they gave up so many points. So, it's going to make things really interesting to see how that shakes out. But it ends up being kind of a slow week this week, not too many games, with several getting canceled. But a weird week. Wednesday night football felt like football night when we got there. Beaufort was rocking and rolling, and Casey Fields was doing Casey Fields things, and then Battery Creek was another nice crowd. Not on the visitor side this week. Whale Branch had the visitor side packed out. I think you could count them on your 2 hands how many North Charleston fans were there, unfortunately, on a Wednesday night. But Creek looking good.
I'm impressed with the turnout Hilton had. The student section was absolutely popping on both sides. There was a good bluff turnout as well, and Hilton had students showed out, and obviously they still have school. Traditionally, they're e-learning on Thursday and Friday, so still school. But and even so, on a school night still, when we're doing e-learning, it's you still have school the same day, but it's just a little differently. But still, a great turnout by these students in Beaufort County, Jasper County, and just love the passion and the excitement of these students for high school football. And I just love how energized and how much these kids got into the game, and how much they root their students on, because you gotta love that school spirit, and that's what it's all about. Kids supporting their fellow classmates, and there's nothing bigger than those rivalry games. It really brings out the best, and not just the players and the coaches, but the fans and the students as well. So just an outstanding atmosphere at the Bridge Bowl. And you have so many Friday nights throughout your career covering high school football, and at the end of the day, there's only a few that stick out. And I feel like this Wednesday night Hurricane football week will stick out to me.
The Hilliman Hurricane game. That one's definitely going to go down in the annals. You're going to remember that one for a long time. Remember the 2022 Bridge Bowl and the Hurricane when Trace Hellman came in, Jalen Linder went off, and they all overcame Troy Timko. So what a great night of football. Now we all get to hunker down, and we'll work out getting some content out there for you over the next few days while we hide from the rain. Didn't hear much about any people evacuating, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty decent storm. So hope everyone can stay safe, and hopefully
we send best wishes to everyone in Tampa, Florida, and everyone centered around the area.
Fort Myers got banged up pretty good. So thoughts and prayers to Florida, and best wishes to you and yours as you try to stay safe from the storm. Week 6 is in the books as far as we know. I think
we still got a Monday nighter.
That's true. We got a Monday night football game up in Charleston. That's right. It's not in the books, but Lowco Pigskin Live for week 6 is in the books. So we're going to call it a night, a little after midnight, and we'll see you real soon to talk some more high school football here in the Lowco. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Misa Garzone and Dylan Price for jumping on to talk football with us, and to all of our sponsors for making it possible. But most of all, thanks to all of you who watch and listen. Until next time, go Lowco.